last couple of hours, Johnny Depp has hit the red carpet at the Cannes Film Festival as his new film, Jean du Barry, opens the event. This is him on the red carpet. You can hear at the end of this a cheer for Johnny. And he got cheered when he went inside the auditorium. But there's been an outcry from Amber Heard's supporters and some French actresses with the hashtag #CanYouNot, accusing the film festival of celebrating abuses for 76 years. Now, Johnny Depp was vindicated at his recent trial in America, with Amber Heard ordered to pay him $10 million and basically exposed as a liar. So does Johnny Depp have the right to relaunch his career, or is Hollywood being hypocritical by celebrating someone who'd even been accused of such behaviour and, of course, lost a libel case in the UK? Well, joining me now is Nick Wallace, author of Depp v. Heard, the Unreal Story, and the family law barrister Paula Roan Adrian. OK, Nick, it's an interesting thing. Johnny Depp welcomed like a movie star, as he has been since he won this case in America. Been mobbed, but he doesn't have a completely clean slate because he lost the libel action in the UK. A judge ruled that the Sun, basically, by calling him a wife-beater, that they were entitled to do that. So it's messy. And there's no doubt that this relationship with Amber Heard was extremely mutually toxic and abusive. It just comes down to how you categorise who was more to blame and what the abuse was like, which I think your book does in a lot of detail. I think the point about Johnny Depp tonight is, should he be continued to be feted as a blemish-free movie star in the way we're seeing at the Cannes Film Festival?
Well, I'm sure he would say he had the right to do that, having got the verdict that he did in Virginia, and this huge wave of public support that followed it all the way up to.
But what about the other verdict in London?
Well, this is always going to be the fly in the ointment. Mr. Justice Nichol, a learned, respected judge, spent 3 months looking over the transcripts, the evidence, and all the contemporaneous documentary evidence, which he did place a huge amount of weight on. And after 3 months, he came down very firmly in favour of the Sun.
Yeah.
Amber Heard was the star witness in that trial. He essentially believed what she had to say and ruled that on 12 separate occasions, Johnny Depp did physically abuse.
So where does that leave him in the court of public opinion? You've got to say Johnny Depp appears to pretty well be unanimously the winner.
Well, he is the winner, but as you know, it's all about the money, isn't it? And this has now come out of the courts and is now in the hands of the Hollywood studios. Johnny Depp has been on this incredibly well-managed rehabilitation arc since last year. He went on tour with Jeff Beck, was mobbed everywhere he went.
Dior just gave him a $20 million contract, the highest ever for a man with a fragrance.
He's co-producing a movie with Al Pacino. This is a really important step on his road to rehabilitation, opening the Cannes Film Festival. He's got European movie makers behind him, standing ovation in the theatre. What he needs now is to get to Hollywood. He needs Disney to say, OK, you can have a lead part or a bit part in the next Pirates movie.
Paula, should Hollywood or a firm like Disney do that with Johnny Depp? Does he deserve to be brought back? I mean, the hypocrisy of the Cannes Film Festival, it's an incredibly glamorous event. I've covered it many times myself, but they feted people like Roman Polanski, who's a fugitive child rapist, who escaped justice for what he did. So they've got a long history of tolerating this kind of thing. They do say, some of the festival organisers, they prefer to celebrate the art rather than the person, which is an easy get out, but some people do think that. Where do we stand with Johnny Depp, though?
Celebrating the art and not the person. I would accept that if it was Amber Heard who was on the red carpet. I would accept that.
Why would you?
I would accept that we were celebrating the art and not the person if it was Amber Heard who hadn't lost her L'Oreal contract. I would accept that we were celebrating the art and not the person if Amber Heard wasn't hounded by 4.5 million people to sign a contract so that she didn't get to partake in the Aquaman 2 role. But we're not celebrating the art. We clearly are celebrating the person. And this is what concerns me, particularly when we know that 2 women a week die because of abuse from their partners. We are celebrating
But an American court trial determined at the end of it that they didn't believe her, that she was a liar. It is clouded by what happened in London, no question. But the most recent test of the veracity of both of their claims about what went on that marriage was an unequivocal win for Johnny Depp. And he has taken that,
It
as
was
you
a
would
2-1,
understand.
It was a 2-1, wasn't it? It was a 2-1.
Yeah, but he won.
So, in terms of the finances, he came out better, of course, than Amber did. What Amber wanted was that unequivocal win, the same win that she was able to obtain.
But she didn't get it.
On behalf of the Sun, and she didn't get it.
So why
That's
shouldn't
right.
he be allowed to continue with his career?
I haven't said he shouldn't be allowed to continue with his career. What I'm concerned about is the fact that they're not being treated equally. And what we have is a society who seems to accept that it's OK for a man to be an abuser, but it's not OK for a woman. They have both sent out a joint statement to suggest that the relationship was volatile. They accepted that.
This was when the marriage was settled. But then
Yes,
Amber
that's
Heard
right.
went out of her way to become a spokesperson for gender-based violence based on her relationship with Johnny Depp. And that is the point at which Johnny Depp said, well, hang on a minute.
And why was she wrong to do that?
Well,
why was she wrong to identify that she believed that she was a victim of domestic abuse, as found in the British courts? Why was she wrong to have
why
done
are
that?
you keen
Because she didn't look like a perfect. She didn't look like a perfect victim, Piers.
Well,
she was supposed to sit quietly.
With respect,
she was supposed to accept the abuse,
hang on.
But she didn't.
Hang on. Stop painting her as some kind of angel. Amber Heard was not an angel.
Contrary,
Amber Heard, from everything I saw, did some terrible acts of abuse, both physical, verbal. We saw it, we heard it, we heard the evidence, we saw the pictures and so on. She's not an angel in this, right? The question is, I think, when you get a situation that's messy like this, what happens to the main people involved, right? And you might be right, there has been a double standard. Johnny Depp tonight, we've got the pictures now inside the auditorium at the Cannes Film Festival of this standing ovation he got. Listen to some of this.
My Wen, one of the first strong pictures hand in hand.
Now that's a pretty unequivocal, emphatic vote of support from the movie industry.
But this is about money. I mean, it's a huge snub to Amber Heard.
Yeah.
Amber Heard, don't forget, is the only person in this couple at the moment who's got a big Hollywood movie coming out.
From everything you've read
She's
about
in Aquaman
too. Right, so Nick,
too.
you've researched them better than most people in this fascinating book. From everything you've gleaned here, where does the truth lie, do you think?
Well, one thing that I have learned from studying this case and reporting on both of them on the ground is that no one has a monopoly on truth. Not a High Court judge, not Johnny Depp, not Amber Heard.
Or on being a victim.
Not Seven... Well, this is where you get right into the culture war, because there is an argument on, I would say, the feminist side that there can only be one abuser in a relationship. The concept of mutual abuse, which came up in the Virginia trial, is something that I don't know whether colleagues of yours would say does not exist, because it allows abusers to say, you're abusing me, you're the problem in this relationship, and it can turn things on its head. So we have a real issue where people say, of course you can have mutual abuse in a relationship. Amber Heard admitted to physically hitting Johnny Depp on a number of occasions. But does that make her an abuser, or does that make her someone responding with reactive
my
violence?
takeaway, Paula, at the end of it was they had a highly toxic, alcohol and drug-fueled relationship, which spilled over into verbal and physical violence, right? And this went on for quite a long time. And actually, they are both, I wouldn't say equally, because I wasn't there, I don't know. But they both certainly contributed to the blame of the breakdown of this relationship with their behaviour. And so I don't see two angels, but I'm not quite sure where the scales lie, given we've now had two court cases, one complete exoneration effectively for Depp, and the other one the opposite.
Yes, and that sounds very reasonable, sitting here in the studio. But what's the message that's been sent to victims of abuse? The message that's been sent to victims of abuse, particularly women, is don't speak out if your man is rich and powerful.
Or if you're lying.
That's the message.
Or if you're lying.
Well, in this country,
Amber Heard,
she's not.
In America, Amber Heard, it was determined she lied, right? So this is where it gets more complicated. You have a Hollywood star, Amber Heard, who plays the victim, tries to cash in on being a victim, writes op-ed pieces in serious newspapers, and does all that stuff, promoting herself, promoting her brand as a...
Should she have kept her mouth shut, Piers?
I'm not saying that.
Should she have kept her mouth shut?
I'm not saying that.
Should she not have voiced
No, but Paula, your
what
position...
she's gone
No,
through?
but your argument that we should...
It's right that she spoke out.
No, but, well, she's entitled to.
Absolutely.
But then she's also... Johnny Depp is entitled to defend himself, and he did win the case in America.
Which he has done.
And my point is, I don't think she represents...
taken a side.
I don't think she represents your average Joe victim in the street. So I think drawing that parallel to me is wrong.